You know, Lauren Praz and Wyclef definitely had a massive appeal in our culture, and those were the first kids from our island that sold over 20 million records with an album. So, and their songs were uplifting, and it was the first time that in history where you saw, you know, a Haitian group take it to that next level and win Grammys and so on and so forth. And so for me, it was just like following in those footsteps. You know what I mean? Wow, if these guys could do it and this group could do it, well, there is a place in hip hop for other cultures. And there is a place in hip hop that even if you didn't grow up in a ghetto in America, or even if you was from somewhere else and now living in a ghetto in America, there's a story to be told. I think, you know, it was the movement, the independence. You know, Haiti is the first independent black republic in the world. And that was in 1804 with Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines. Basically were soldiers who fought against Napoleon for the freedom of the country. And so I think that whole, and Haiti being a western part of the United States, it was like a big deal. You know what I mean? It was a big deal to hear a story about how did these guys beat Napoleon? Because Napoleon's army was such a strong army and such a powerful army. How are these guys able to rebel and protect their country and not be colonized by another country? And I think that in history, I think even Haiti is a small country, has a lot of credibility and respect for that, and for freeing the people and making sure that they would take a stand over that oppression. And so I just feel like, you know, Haitians are people who have been, you know, basically fighting for their land, fighting for their family, fighting for their freedom. And now that you have so many Haitians living in Miami and New York, because it's on that side of the East Coast, I think you're seeing a lot of those same brothers carry that heritage, and they're carrying that story about, yo, we was independent. Maybe we wasn't rich, maybe we didn't have the best, but we were free. And freedom was so important to the people. And I think that's why now you hear more and more from the Futures and the Fetty Waps and the Lil Waynes and the Rick Rosses. They know that culture. And I think a lot, Hip Hop America has embraced Haiti. And they've embraced Haiti, I believe, for a lot of reasons. Number one, I think the dignity, the pride, and the rebellion of the Haitian people. And I say the second part is, it's a part of every African American's fabric, that story of freedom. It was like interesting because I was doing that because I was like, wow, Paris Hilton's a brand and she's got this and I got this, and if we bring us together, we can get rich together and we can have this image and this look. And I kind of saw the very raw points of Paris. I kind of saw that this young lady was very influential and really blown up as a socialite. And I just saw that her energy around me could add to my movement. But I didn't really understand that I was adding to her movement, because at that time Paris Hilton wasn't really known in urban America. No one knew who that was, right? But all the socialites in that world, they knew. And I think when I did the video, it was perfect because the record that was producing at that time was Deborah Harry's Rapture, and the record was Blondie. Okay, it was Blondie. Blondie was the artist, Deborah Harry, and the record was called Rapture. And it so happened to be that Paris Hilton was a blonde girl, and I needed a blonde girl for the video. And so when I reached out and we made it happen and we got together, it was just a great transition. But I didn't know the backlash I was going to get for it, right? Because at that time, in 2004, people were still very negative about, you know, brothers, you know, intermingling. Forget relationship, creativity, you know, just on a creative level. You know, it could be a black man kissing a white woman in a movie. It could be a white woman kissing a black man in a movie, right? It could be a black woman kissing a white man in a movie. People are still a little bit not too, you know what I mean, like not too open-minded to that. So the backlash is I was ahead of my time because I think it was a cool thing to have Paris involved, a socialite heiress, hotelier, being a part of some rapper from the street that really was just coming from Haiti on a very localized level, building himself up. And here's this young girl who has money and comes from, you know, power and royalty, in a sense, you know, blessing my project. But I can remember reading some of those posts online and some of those comments online. It was really kind of riveting, and it really showed me then, because I was disconnected to the fact that people still had that embodiment in their mind of like, yo, that ain't cool. And so to see a fast forward today where Paris is like DJing and partners with Baby, right? And then I look back at the post in 2004, almost 11 years ago, and I look back, I say, wow, I was a young cat back then, and wow, I did something, but wow, it wasn't taken the way that they taking it with Lil Wayne or Baby or whoever is doing business with Paris Hilton today. What my biggest inspiration was DJ Quick to getting into music, because what happened was when I was 14 years old, I had an opportunity to meet DJ Quick. And I met DJ Quick because him and Greedy Greg and Big Bass Brian and AMG, a buddy of mine, we drove to their house in Inglewood. And we were just some young kids, and somebody knew Quick and said, hey, come over, you want to meet DJ Quick? And I'll never forget walking into the room, and Quick had his SP, he had his SP 1200, which was a drum machine at the time. And I never forget that Quick they had their van outside, it was a van. And I was looking at this guy and I couldn't believe that I was meeting DJ Quick. And I was like, wow, that's Quick. And he had the Jerry curl with the DJ Quick and the Pendleton shirt on with the khakis on and the Chuck Taylors. It was just like amazing. I saw Compton, I saw South Central, I saw everything. And I remember I asked Quick, I was a kid, I said, man, what's that machine you're using right there? That's the SP 1200. I said, what is that? He said, well, put it this way, I don't need a band, I just need sounds. I'm gonna bring a live band in, but this is the machine, it's the brain, the whole thing. And that was my inspiration. When I left that day, when I left that night, I had set my mind to it. I said, you know what, I'm gonna get that same SP 1200 console. I'm gonna find that board and I'm gonna find a way to buy it, and I'm gonna practice and learn and kind of figure out. What was great about that relationship and coming together, Rick Ross has always been a supporter within the Haitian community. And we know that Rick Ross is here in Atlanta, but also stays in Miami a lot. And his whole movement was like, Haitians have always been in my circle. They've either worked for me, they've either done music with me, but they've either managed me. Haitians has always been around Rick Ross. So when he visited Haiti in 2010, he was talking about like, yo, this, who's this kid Won G, and people would tell him and whatever. So when we had an opportunity to meet, it was just butter. It was like, yo, like, and I was like, man, I'd be blessed to do a record with you. I'd be blessed. And he was like, yo, I want to work with you. Yeah, I've talked about this before, and kind of, mention it. Fashion, we all know since the forefathers of hip hop that these guys have always set trends. We can go as far as Run DMC, what they did with Adidas. We could, these guys probably took Adidas to $1 billion level. There's no telling the influence that Run DMC had alone on Adidas. You can't even count the number. Only Adidas could probably tell you, because they know. Okay, from the time that those guys first they walked this way, talked this way, and had them, these guys were guys that was like revolutionizing the sneaker business 25 years ago, 30 years ago. So hip hop, these, the figureheads in hip hop, have audience, and then they have not only audience, but they have people who admire them, and they admire what they wear, they admire what they drink, they admire what they eat, they admire what they say. So since the beginning of hip hop, and from the time I embraced hip hop and got to discover hip hop, I've been seeing fashion just time and time again transcend. And even brands that were actually brands that people already knew, like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Versace. What did Puffy do for Versace? Just wearing Versace. What do you think that Puffy's influence was just wearing Versace alone? We can't even count that number. We can't even count the number that LL Cool J wearing a Kango hat. No one knew what Kango was, so LL Cool J put Kango hat on. And then the world found out what the Kango was, or Gazelles, when the Fat Boys was wearing Gazelles and Heavy D was wearing Gazelles. So look, and then you fast forward to Kanye West, or you fast forward to A$AP Rocky, or any of these guys. Kanye, people talk about Balmain and they talk about, Paris and Italian fashion. Well, who knows it better than Kanye? What has he been able to do? If you look at the Yeezus sneaker, which is another Adidas partnership. What else do I need to say? You know what I mean? These guys have had a tremendous amount of influence. And so time and time again, we continue to see that hip hop is the only form of music, in my opinion, that dominates fashion and creates trend on the level like no one other. No one else could do it. I don't believe that there's another music out there who could drive lifestyle and create brands, not only from scratch, but take brands that are already well known and take them to that next level. And there was a big fight in the 90s when Tommy Hilfiger kind of mentioned or stated something about, don't quote me, but like African Americans, his clothing ain't for them, or whatever he had said. I don't know what it was, but I knew it was something that I felt within the community where everybody was like, yo, we help make your company. We help support your company. We wore your clothing. We in our videos, in our movies, in our concerts. So again, the only thing I can tell you is that Savage Fashion is that whole evolution. It's just a new brand, a new name. It's fabric at the end of the day. It's how you cut it, sew it, mark it up, price it, right? And how the fans accept it. What sector or what target audience are you going for? So I always just like to keep it simple. You know, Savage Fashion is a basic company. I like things. I like inspirations like this angel or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on my website. I'm going to go ahead and have a store with my fans or people who listen to me or like the way I dress, go purchase something. So that's Savage Fashion. Yo, what's up? This is Won G. Thanks for checking me out on allhiphop.com. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, official WONG. That's official WONG. And again, don't forget, the Rich Together movement's a real thing, and I'm coming to your city.